But speaking of New York State and the frustration of living here, someone who is fighting the good fight, who is in the game, who is in the arena, who is not giving up, who is putting the tape on the knuckles and swinging hard for taxpayers, is New York State Senator George Borrello, who is live on the WBEN live line right now. State Senator, how are you? And thank you for joining us live on News Radio 930 WBEN.
I am great, and I am really glad to be back on with you, and certainly second to everything that you said, with the exception of I'm not planning on leaving this state. We are going to fix this state. We are going to kick the socialists, the opportunists, the con artists, and everyone else that has dragged this beautiful state down. We're going to kick them out and make this state a place that we can be proud of again. But right now, every time we think we've hit a low point in New York State, somehow Governor Kathy Hochul and the Democrats pick up a shovel and a pickaxe and dig even deeper, and that's kind of where we are right now.
And isn't a big issue energy? And it's one of the topics I'm going to talk to you about, because when it comes to energy, there is a war on energy from the radical left and the worst governor in America, Kathy Hochul, and Kami Mamdani, when it comes to trying to ban gas stoves. I mean, a recent report that just came out as well, Senator. Can you talk about that? About how there's basically historically thin margins here in New York State when it comes to power.
Absolutely. You know, I think about the old Star Trek TV series, and every time Captain Kirk would ask Scotty about doing something, he'd say, "I'm sorry, we don't have the power for that, Captain." Well, that's what's going on here in New York State. The New York State Independent System Operators are saying we don't have the power. We don't have the power for our needs right now. And what was the solution that the governor offered? Turn off your air conditioner, unplug your electronics. Sweat it out while we decide what we're going to do. And the reason is we've had it's radical, disjointed energy policy. It's not even a policy. It's a series of radical goals, this climate agenda, with no actual agenda, no actual plan to achieve those goals. Meanwhile, we have been in this dangerous game of energy musical chairs. Remember when you were a kid, the game musical chairs? You take away a seat and everybody else has to fight for the seats that are left. We've taken away reliable baseload power here in New York State, natural gas, coal, nuclear power, and replaced it with essentially nothing. And that is why we are in the situation we are in. We have high energy rates. We have historically low safety margins for our energy, and it's getting worse, not better. And to your point, this has been an orchestrated, planned failure. And quite frankly, I think that when you look at trying to ban natural gas and other reliable sources of energy, what Kathy Hochul and Kami Mamdani have done is they become the useful idiots for the enemies of the United States and our competition in other states and other countries by allowing New York to essentially cede its dominance, and energy independence that we once had.
Well, did you realize he was being literal when he said the warmth of collectivism and said, hey, turn on your AC to 75 degrees? I mean, that's the solution from the radical left is, hey, let's put in these electric bus mandates. Let's take away your gas stove. Let's take away all of the energy choices that would actually benefit consumers and drive down your utility bill. I mean, Senator Borrello, isn't that the problem where a lot of these radical green scams are being shoved down through mandates, the throats of businesses and struggling taxpayers, and that's why we're screwed right now?
Absolutely. It's a supply and demand thing. We've taken away supply while the demand for energy has increased, and that's why our bills are going up. We've told the people that generate electricity, that generate power, don't invest here in New York State because of this climate agenda. The Democrats and Kathy Hochul said, we're going to put you out of business. So who's going to invest billions of dollars of necessary and critically needed infrastructure when you're being told that you're going to be put out of business? That's the foundation of the problem here. New York State's we have some of the highest electricity rates in the nation, 70% higher than the national average. And what is the governor saying? She's going to blame Trump. She's going to blame data centers. She's coming up with every straw man argument she can come up with. But ultimately, it's bad policy. It's a lack of a coherent strategy to provide the energy that we need. And if we can't power the needs we have now, what are we going to do about the future technology that is driving the economies of the world and other states that are going to take the food off of our table because we don't have the power to meet the needs of future technology here in New York State?
And you're right on the Pennsylvania border, your district, correct?
That's correct. Right on the border, and that's our biggest competition, quite frankly.
But isn't the governor and, again, single-party rule Democrats putting their thumb on the scale that benefits Pennsylvania right across the border from you when it comes to fracking? I mean, the fact that, Terry Pagula, that's how he bought the Buffalo Bills in the fracking business. And how frustrating is it for you when you look right across the border and jobs are going to Pennsylvania away from New York, our bills are going up, and they're doing well in Pennsylvania because of a fracking ban in New York?
100%. And it's even worse than that. The Marcellus Shale that they're tapping into, many of those veins of gas actually go under New York State. They're actually taking our gas literally, in some cases, just a few thousand yards away from the New York border. And they are profiting from it. Bruce Blakeman has come to the area. He's talked about this, and he said it best. He said, you look on that side of the border, and you see people driving around in brand new Cadillac Escalades because of all the prosperity. On the New York side of the border, they're riding around in 25-year-old rusted-out pickup trucks. And he's right. The poverty has been engineered by bad policy, by senseless bans. We even had an opportunity for a whole new kind of fracking technology using CO2, completely natural. And what did we do in New York State? We banned it before we even had the opportunity to actually implement it. We had a company that wanted to come to the southern tier and build a company that was going to extract gas using CO2 as opposed to the secret chemical cocktail that Democrats keep talking about. Oh, all these dangerous proprietary chemicals that are in this fracking fluid. Well, they were going to eliminate all that, and even that wasn't good enough for them. They banned it before we even had a chance to learn anything more about it. Their agenda is to destroy New York's energy reliability, and they are succeeding at that destruction.
Yeah, they're damn good at it, unfortunately, for taxpayers across New York State. Before we go to traffic at 3:50, one more question for you. I want to talk about Medicaid, because a report just came out that basically said that the New York State Attorney General has the worst record in the nation. Hey, we're number one in something in prosecuting Medicaid fraud. I want to get your reaction to that.
Well, look, we have an attorney general who clearly has shown that her only interest is political witch hunts. And the job that she's supposed to be doing, protecting New Yorkers from fraud, holding criminals accountable, she has failed miserably. And this latest report by the Empire Center details that. She is last, 50 out of 50, when it comes to attorney generals that have been able to actually recover the stolen Medicaid funds. And what's worse is New York State spends more on Medicaid per person than any other state in the nation. Again, about 77% higher than the national average. Billions upon billions of dollars is being built from New York taxpayers, and the Attorney General has done next to nothing about it, and that's what that report shows. It's very damning. And I think it goes beyond just her ineptness. It goes to the political strategy for the Democrats. They like this fraud. They know this fraud is actually providing funds to the people that are turning around and making donations to their campaigns. The transportation brokers that actually are the ones profiting off of this scam, the non-emergency Medicaid transportation scam, that are profiting hundreds of millions of dollars. So some of the home care companies that have been scamming New York taxpayers out of billions of dollars. We've seen story after story. Those people are con artists, criminals, and they are supporting the Democrat Party with that money.
It's unbelievable. It really is. And the few seconds that we had left, what's your pitch, your elevator pitch to people about change the policymakers if you want to change the policies in New York State?
The only thing we can do is restore balance here in New York State. Right now, under one-party rule, they don't have to negotiate. They don't have to compromise. They're not held accountable because they're not willing to hold each other accountable. We need to restore balance. I don't care if you are a lifelong Democrat. You need to understand that New York State is on a death spiral, and you need to vote differently in order to save our state.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We greatly appreciate you fighting the good fight and sticking in there. I feel like quitting. I feel like going. I can't, so I'm stuck. But, God bless you, Senator, for actually caring, giving a damn, and staying in the fight. We need more people like you. Greatly appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure.